Oh my God, the horse.
You're under arrest for killing a cop.
All right, so I guess we're starting off strong tonight, right? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Dragoon's Lair podcast. I am Daniel the Dragon, the Blue Dragoon himself. With me, as per usual, King Hamster Pellet himself, Mike Schiavo, and our ever favorite co-host, Jimmy.
The family man.
That's right.
Family man.
Which
Our family.
And we got to jump right off the bat, because one of the things I have to ask, because the television cut off at the end of episode 3, and we're now 3 more episodes have come out of We Are Family since we recorded the last episode. So I've got questions.
I have the answer.
I don't know who was the final celebrity for episode 3, because it cut off because it went to a commercial break and football basically
took over.
Yeah. So they pushed everything back.
Oh, you mean what do we call it? There's the octagon, the hexagon, and the season gone.
Pretty much.
Special.
Yeah.
That was
good.
That was good.
Yep. So now for episode 3, who was the final celebrity?
I believe. Oh, that was Jay Farrow. Oh no, you didn't watch that one?
I lost the final few moments, so I
my
didn't
God.
see the reveal because on the DVR.
So you saw the one of the predictions.
Yeah.
Suge.
Yeah, Suge Knight.
Suge-
Really?
Well, let's put it
Isn't
this
he
way.
still in prison? Dangling people over.
Well, no, the latest episode, though, the one that just recently aired, I mean, because these have been coming out pretty rapid fire lately.
Yeah.
But they went, and the last one, I was laughing because, what was it? She said one of them, they guessed somebody who was dead.
Donna Summer.
Yeah.
Donna
Yeah,
Summer.
yeah. It's like, what was it? Gary Anthony Daniels' mom was like sitting there like,
Anthony Anderson.
Yeah, Anthony. You can tell. Too many people, too many multiple names. Which, one question I really have to ask. Did they tell you guys to wear the same clothes every single day?
Yes.
Yes.
Continuity.
Not once, but 10 days. 10 days. If you want feedback, I got feedback from everybody.
Because, well, we'll get to that, because seriously, I'm like literally looking and I'm like, okay, you're in your red shirt that entire time. Now, he's changed his clothes a few times.
Oh, you mean Pepto?
Yeah, Pepto-Bismol over there.
I could not stop
that
laughing at
pink
that.
suit really was. Although Debbie Gibson, I kind of caught that one. I called that one pretty quick.
I got that one.
I mean,
that was
definitely
good.
to show up.
Yeah,
That was smooth.
but the fact that he was dressed like a Pepto-Bismol, like
Please, when he
Pepto
gets
tablet?
mocked by his own almost like adopted sister in a way.
yeah.
Oh, dude, you're done.
Yeah. Now it's like, but I'm seeing everybody wearing the same clothes. I see that same Christmas sweater. It's
The
like,
damn Christmas sweater.
I was like, did they let you guys change your clothes?
They kept him chained in a basement next to the gimp.
Because I'm like, okay, so if it's edited out of order and he's wearing different clothes for different things, you guys all had to wear the same thing? Like,
yeah.
That's
But listen.
did you at least have laundry service so each day you could
Yes.
change it? Oh, okay.
good.
No, we went there. I will say this, that even under the, as popular, everybody can say with me, 1, 2, 3, NDA.
Yes. But an NDA doesn't stop you from saying that you at least had laundry
We
services.
had laundry
That's fine,
service
yeah.
and lunch and dinner.
good.
Yeah. Well, at least they fed you.
And
And they
changed.
Yeah.
They changed his diapers.
Yeah.
No, we did that.
Yeah. Well,
Did you have a fluffer? No fluffer?
No fluffers.
No fluffer. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
No fluffers.
little fluffer nutter.
Little fluffer.
That's pretty good.
Fluffer on the nutters?
Yeah. No, so now what's some of the feedback that you've been getting from the show so far?
Change your fucking shirt.
Other than that, because I'm literally thinking the same thing.
Between my man, special shout out to Tim in Florida, with his lovely Argyle sweater and his little dance movements. We are making more gifts than everything on that.
Which, in all honesty, the reactions are really fun, but it's just seeing everyone in the same clothes over and over again.
Now, I know when things aren't shot in order, but when you were on set, did it say, okay, this is going to be episode 3, or they just shot it and they just broke it up and did it however they want?
They did it however. Now I'll say we see they're doing it however they wanted.
Okay.
All right.
Because that was the last episode that we shot, and this one up here was around the Thursday before we left, so that was about 7 or 8.
Okay.
All right.
So they're going a little out of order, but they got some pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We know like films and regular like scripted TV shows are shot out of order.
Yeah.
But you would figure with something like this, okay, this is going to be episode 3.
Yeah.
Kind of more of like a structured order.
yeah, because we know like when you're doing a regular TV show where they have to go on locations, they're gonna film everything in one day for the location because it's gonna be expensive. But you guys, it's like
You're on a set.
yeah, you're on a set and you keep coming back daily
In the same shirt.
in the same shirt.
Same
I'm
shirt.
like,
My poor friend.
please tell me at least you changed your underwear daily.
Please. For those of
That
you
was a
who
thumbs
are
up,
listening
folks.
to us, he gave an
Yes.
emphatic thumbs up.
Yes, a very
On the video,
emphatic-
they'll see it.
Yeah.
On the video, they'll
Yes.
see it.
Exactly. But yeah, no. So what other feedback have you really gotten from the show so far?
It's not bad. We're holding our own.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, we were up against. All right, everybody knows we were up against the Detroit game,
Yeah.
but with the ratings, they started counting the football game at 7:00, so we were not in competition with them, which was good. Knock on wood.
Don't be knocking on the wood too much now. No.
So, but we went up against 2 repeats, and we did pretty good for ourselves and everything.
Yeah.
We're doing pretty good with everything nowadays with the Nielsen ratings, the 18 to 49s. We're doing pretty good in holding our own.
Yeah, I will say I did like the preview for the next episode with you all of a sudden out of nowhere. I'll bet Super Bowl tickets on that. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
of course he would.
He would.
Yeah.
No. Well, that and then me and one of my other contestants there, a friend of mine, we have a little counter offer from Mr. Anderson for that,
Yeah.
and it won't go into effect until if he agrees, because it won't go into effect till let's just say I want night 1, and you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
I want night 1. I don't care about night 2 because I got to work the next day, but I want night 1.
Yeah, well, I mean, so far the show has been really a lot of fun. There's a lot of I'm kind of guessing on some of them. When they came out with the what was it, the football player?
Cam Newton.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know who the fuck this is, but I'm not a sports guy, so I was like, I wasn't surprised when I saw like you had figured that one out. But there's others where I'm like, okay, you know what? Debbie Gibson was one where I was just like, oh, I'm calling this one early. Like, it's like
There's
I got
some
that.
that I got. They're pretty good.
It was like I love the '80s and stuff. I was like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
At least you don't have these people. At least like they're behind like a scrim, and they're
Yeah.
not like in some stupid, ridiculous costume.
But by the way, everybody's enjoying. As you see the globe, you get to see who's in there. Yeah, we didn't get to see that.
Yeah. Well, clearly.
So no, we didn't.
Well, yeah.
Only
'cause-
the clues.
Well,
We
yeah.
got to see the clues.
You got to
That's
see the
everybody
clues,
knows.
but you couldn't at least see the silhouette. So, which is why I'm like, how are they guessing a guy when you see some of like the silhouette? I was like, I pretty much called out Jojo Siwa like right off the bat. It was like the silhouette, and I was like, okay. I'm like, it's like it takes a couple clues, but then I'm like, all right, I think I got this one. But you've been your over under on there so far hasn't been so great.
I know. Listen. I'm staying in the medium. That's all.
Yeah. So you're staying
In the medium.
So now I know I put on the list of things that we were going to talk about today would be Crisis on Infinite Earths, the new Justice League animated movie, but it's digitally available. So I know, Mike, you're a little behind because you're waiting for the actual physical copy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
You waited?
I'm waiting too.
All right.
Sorry.
I
I
was
was looking. I'm like, nah, I can't hold. I gotta wait.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to wait because the DC's animated stuff has actually been really good. And this one kind of falls in with like the latest batch of what they've been doing. So it just doesn't feel like a complete movie, but that's also because
It's supposed to be.
It's part
Yeah.
one.
yeah. But then if they do what they did with the Dark Knight
The long
Returns,
Halloween.
yes, the Long Halloween
Yeah.
and the Dark Knight
Dark
Returns.
Knight Returns
You
and
know,
the Long
Halloween. They
Halloween.
No.
released them as part one and part
Part
two,
two.
but then afterwards they released them as just one huge film.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was Frank Miller's Dark
Yeah,
Knight. That's
Frank
one
Miller's
and two.
Dark- Yeah, but then they released it as
Yeah, but it
one
wasn't.
film.
But it wasn't. That was just two parts for one. That wasn't the Long Halloween. Long Halloween was a separate one.
That
Right.
was a separate one. We were just using that as an example.
Yeah, because they did the same thing with the Long Halloween.
Yeah.
They did part one and two for that, right?
Yes.
No, it was only one part.
No. Two.
There was only one long one.
You got to see the long one. We got to see the two-parters.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
That's what she said.
Hold on.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
We have sound effects.
Yes, and I got to keep Jimmy away from there, otherwise
That's
it gets
why
a
I'm
little.
sitting over
Yeah,
here.
Yep.
And it's over there.
that's why it's also off air. I made sure I turned that button off. So, but yeah, no. So I enjoyed it. I mean, I've seen some criticisms online because Batman's kind of poking fun at himself, really, with the whole Robin thing of it being irresponsible for him to take in a child, which is true,
Right.
But it does feel a little weird when Batman's the one saying
Yeah.
it. When Robin, what was it, the first handful of episodes, not even episodes, comics that came out originally, Robin may not have been in the first issue, but he was in there by I think by issue 5.
Let's find out.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so while Mike looks that up, but no. So I mean, this movie really is very Flash centric for the most part.
Because even in the comic,
Yeah.
one of the parts is the Flash
Oh yeah.
with the original, and I always remember that.
I can tell, I think they've updated the character designs a little bit from the way the comic was back then. And so some of the designs are a little more different, more modernized. But I like what they did. And they even have what was it? The villain versions of
the Justice Lords.
Justice
yeah,
Lords.
the Justice Lords. Or what was it? The Crime Syndicate?
Crime Syndicate.
Crime Syndicate.
And Robin appeared Detective Comics number 38, April 1940.
Okay, so 38. So, all right. So you figure within the first year,
More or less.
About that.
first year or two, he was.
year and a half.
Yeah, so Robin has been a staple in Batman comics for forever, but Batman kind of making a little dig on himself. We all know it's irresponsible, but
It's the pot calling the kettle black.
yeah. I think it would have been more interesting if it was somebody else saying it, but the fact that Batman saying it did make it just
Yeah,
a
a little tongue in cheek, but also keep in mind that is one of the things about the multiverse where each universe is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Flash showing up around the Crime Syndicate, I was like, oh God. Although I will say, some of the voice acting that they've gotten for this version of the Crime Syndicate, I actually like James Woods as Owlman from the previous version. So it's just one of those things where it's when you've seen so many of them, there's so many different voice actor portrayals. So I got to kind of ask the question, out of all of the DC animated stuff so far, who has had the best voice acting character-wise? Not asking for the voice actor themselves, but the character over all the different ones. Who's had?
I'd have to go with Bruce Greenwood as Batman.
Okay. I can't I can say Batman overall has had some of the best acting from them, but then again, I'm also very partial because of Kevin Conroy.
Well, Kevin Conroy set the bar.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but once he stopped doing the role for whatever
Yeah.
reason he did.
But I wasn't asking about the actor. I'm saying the DC character who's had the best voices that they've used for them.
Batman because Kevin
Yeah.
Conroy,
Yeah.
Bruce
Yeah.
Greenwood,
Jason O'Hara.
Jason O'Hara.
O'Mara.
yeah.
Yeah. Although I
Richard
will,
Bader has been playing, and that still cracks me up.
Yeah.
In the bold.
although I do have to say, like, you know, out of everybody that could be like a second, I have to say I got to go with Green Lantern
Okay.
because
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion, but also Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
Having the actual Jon Stewart like Green Lantern being voiced by Phil Lamar.
Yeah.
Phil Lamar. I mean, if you
Oh.
listen to his voice,
His
And then you
range
see
is,
him.
but his range
Yeah.
is amazing, especially because going back, if you actually look, and the talent that he does with the voice work,
Mm-hmm.
he's doing Static. So he was Virgil,
Yep.
Static Shock, and doing Green Lantern at the same
Same time.
time in the same episode.
wasn't he also Marvin from Pulp Fiction? Oh man,
Yes.
I shot Marvin in the face.
Yeah, in the back of the car.
Yeah.
That was
Man,
him.
I don't even have an opinion. Oh, you have to.
Yeah, you figure he had all the different characters he did on
He started
Mad
out in
TV.
Mad TV.
At TV.
Yeah, so
That's
I mean,
what got him his gig.
and I mean, he was Samurai Jack. So I mean, we can go like just on Phil Lamar alone, his voice work is like an episode we could probably do
Yeah.
on our own. I don't want to go too in depth on it, but he's really up there. And I mean, I got to say, like, one of the non-major characters from Futurama, the fact that he's part of the group but not
part of the group.
the main three, I really got to give him credit. Hermes is a character that always makes me laugh.
Now the I just pulled up the cast list. Now they don't say who's playing who, but you can figure it out. They have Jensen Ackles,
Batman.
obviously Batman. Alexandra Daddario, obviously Wonder Woman. Matt Bomer reprising his role as Superman because he did it in the City of Man of Tomorrow when he fought Brainiac.
I think so.
Actually, he's the Flash.
Yeah.
Really?
You're not going to believe who's Superman.
Well, we have Stana Katic, don't know who that is.
No.
Alice Hodge, which I know from Leverage, very funny.
Okay.
Liam McIntyre, Jimmy Simpson, and Harry Shum Jr.
Yeah.
Couldn't
Listen,
tell you the rest of them. I'm guessing maybe Aldous Hodge as maybe Hawkman again, or maybe even maybe if they're doing it, maybe even Martian Manhunter.
well, that's the thing. It's this one I will say they didn't do Hawkgirl.
Okay.
They have Vixen.
Vixen works. I
Yeah.
don't mind that.
Vixen's there. Like they hit a lot of the characters, but you get to see the crime syndicate a little more than I would have thought you were going to.
Now you've seen the film, correct?
Yes.
Now, for those of you who don't remember, like you, the original comic book dealt with the Anti-Monitor trying to bring all the universes together and destroy them. And the Flash wasn't really a focal point of the whole series. Like, he
Yeah.
died in issue 8.
Yeah.
He died in 8, Supergirl in 7.
Yeah.
It was a whole big amalgam of different superheroes.
Yep.
I feel just with what I've seen is they're making this Flash centered.
Well, it's Flash centered for the most part. Like you figure, even regular storytelling, there needs to be a character that is the audience perspective.
Okay.
And that's pretty much Flash this time around because you're seeing it from taking that ride with Flash.
Okay.
So you do see like other universes, but it's not there. It's the antimatter wave destroying the universes.
Right.
A little closer to the way they kind of did it in the Berlanti verse
Okay.
for the CW,
All right.
where that crisis had the wave. They haven't shown the anti-monitor, but they did kind of have the monitor.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where we know we're getting a part 2, and I think part 2 is supposed to be later this year.
Later this year. Now, which Flash is it? Is it Barry Allen? Wally
It's
West?
Barry.
Okay,
Barry.
so now, we all, like I said, he died in the comic books in issue number 8. Do you think they will kill the Flash in part 2 to save the universe? Do you think he will, because in the comic books, he had to destroy the Anti-Monitor cannon, and he did it by running counterclockwise around it, which basically disintegrated himself, which left the Flash role open, and Wally West took over. Do you think they would do something like that in this film?
No,
Why not?
because I've already seen it. So
You saw both parts.
part one.
Well, I'm asking, do you think in part 2 that will how? I'm asking your opinion.
I will say Barry may not even be a main focus unless it's flashbacks.
Okay.
There is an entire sequence, like, and this is a spoiler warning for anybody who doesn't want to hear. Jump ahead about 5 minutes, if anything, for this. Just
Doug.
Yeah,
Doug.
But no. So it's basically at this point, it's Barry and Iris. They are working in flash time, so the wave is like frozen. And so it's moving extremely slow as they're trying to build the equipment to stop the antimatter wave.
Now, you said Iris is in Flashham. Is she a speedster, or is he just taking her along for the ride?
She's along for the ride.
Okay.
So but they're aging. So they're older while everyone else
Just stays the same age.
The same. Yeah. So you see him as an older man still wearing the suit because Amazo plays a big part in this.
In part 2?
Part one.
Part 1.
Remember, I haven't seen part 2. It's not out till the end of the year.
Yeah, but I thought you said you saw both of them.
No, I only saw part 1
Okay.
because, like I said, the only one that's out right now. That's why I said it doesn't feel like a full
Right.
feature until it'll probably feel a lot better. The DC animated stuff has always been good, but this it doesn't feel like a full cohesive story right now.
Well, that's why they say part 1.
Yeah, but I have a little issue when they do stuff like that because you want it to end it's not an episodic thing. If this was like a weekly series, I'm okay with it like ending with like a big cliffhanger.
Right.
But leaving certain things off and it being like, hey, where is everything? It kind of bothers me when I got to wait like the rest of the year for it.
You know what DC film that did that kind of left me annoyed was John Constantine, House of Mystery. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a good follow-up to Justice League Apocalypse War. Was it Apocalypse?
No.
Excuse me.
It was Apocalypse
I
War.
think you're talking about Justice League Dark.
No.
No, Apocalypse War.
Apocalypse War. That was the one that
Yeah.
brought everything to an end for that current run of the
Yeah.
DCEU or the DC animated universe. Constantine tells Flash, "Look, just set up because
Yeah, he sends them back at the end.
Make another Flashpoint." And then in
Constantine's had 2 movies separately, not including the Justice League Dark one.
right,
You have
City
to-
of Demons and Dark, Justice League Dark.
The one that he did was it felt like it was more like for the show. It felt like it was like more of it. It didn't end.
Right.
It really didn't have an ending,
Right.
and
That's what was bothering
But
me.
they never really ended it anyway.
Right. What happened at the end of House
It felt
of Mystery?
It was more a matter of it felt like it was like the CW when they were doing like the little mini stuff in between for the characters.
Right.
How we had the one movie for Slade. We had or / Deathstroke.
Right.
We had the other one that was the little mini one for Vixen.
Right.
Yeah.
So where Flash and Arrow basically make their appearances. So there's so much that they were going on. I think they overloaded and never really fully finished.
Yeah,
the Constantine one.
Well, the way that one ended was he was going to like the big Eternal. You
And-
hear him scream, and that was the end of it.
Exactly. So that's the thing. That I think was more of like an Elseworld story than anything else.
Well, they even made reference to
You can make reference to certain things, but if you never finish it, it's not. The real question is, and I hate to say it because I'm kind of stealing it from the YouTube channel Toy Galaxy / Secret Galaxy, whichever way they want to go with the title. But it's like, is it canon? And they always ask the question, is it canon?
I think that one is.
I don't think it is. And if anyone out there can tell us if it's canon, send us an email at Dragoon's Lair Podcast. All one word, Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's Dragoon's Lair Podcast at gmail.com.
Side note, Aldous Hodge,
Is
John Stewart.
I could see him
Yep.
playing John Stewart.
Yeah.
But like I said, you ready? Darren Criss is going to be Superman.
Yeah. Well, you got to realize
Voiced.
the thing is, was it that James Gunn said? He wants everyone who's doing the animated voices to also be able to be the live action versions.
And some of these people who they have,
Can be.
yes.
Yeah.
Jensen Ackles definitely has a Batman.
Ackles.
Ackles definitely has a Batman.
You really have that accent
do.
that you just need to be slapped.
Anyway.
Oh.
Definitely he can play Batman. Matt Bomer definitely can play Superman.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing Alexander Daddario as Wonder Woman.
Isn't he already cast as Superman for Gunn's Legacy?
No.
No.
Matt
Then
Bomer? No, he was on Suits.
Then
Not
who's-
Suits.
Yeah.
Who's playing? Then who's in Superman Legacy
That's fine.
for James Gunn? Because he's already released the casting.
I know it's Miss Maisel
Well,
as Lois Lane.
that's Lois Lane, but it's a matter of the casting for Superman. Because, like I said, he made the comment.
David Cornsweet
Nicholas Holt
as
is
Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor.
Rachel.
Nathan Fillion is Guy Gardner.
Yeah, okay. Which I would have liked to see him play Hal Jordan, but whatever.
He fit, like, this is where some of the casting kind of confuses me, because it was always Nathan Fillion gave off the appearance of Hal Jordan.
Yes.
And Ryan Reynolds
Could have been
Kyle
Kyle
Rayner.
Rayner.
Because the comic book artist,
Yeah.
where it was more creative and coming up with stuff. So that's where I could have seen it if Ryan Reynolds would have been the one playing Kyle Rayner. They've
Would
got
have
so-
been so much better.
Yeah. Guy Gardner is. This is going to be interesting because anybody who doesn't know the comic book history, Guy Gardner's kind of been the dick
Yeah.
of the entire Green Lantern Corps.
Mm-hmm.
Most people can't stand.
And he went through started off as a Green Lantern, then he became Warrior. He had
Yep.
like some kind of weird thing. Then he got his Green Lantern running back. And then they told him, take it off, we're gonna make you a Red Lantern and be a spy for us. So he became a Red Lantern for a while.
And if he takes off the ring, he dies.
He dies.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where, and even if you watch the old animated series Batman Brave and the Bold,
Mm-hmm.
he was the least likable character.
Yeah.
Because Guy was always getting into fights with everyone. He was the guy. He was the Green Lantern that you wanted to beat the hell out of with a baseball bat because of the fact
he was such a cocky ass.
it was also his
jerk.
Yeah.
His ring still had the weakness to wood.
I thought it was yellow. I know Alan.
There's been two
Scott
di-
had
yeah.
wood.
But then there was also yellow.
Yeah, I knew the yellow one.
But some lanterns still had the weakness to wood, and it was
So he could have been taken out by a Louisville Slugger.
well, what was it? Batman, I think, in one of the comics proved he could be the biggest dick of them all by painting the entire everything, even his costume.
Yeah.
Everything was painted yellow.
Yep.
Just to prove a fucking point. Mm-hmm. So now, with that said, I want to move on because we've got a bunch of other stuff. The Echo series came out. We'll go back and talk about What If a little bit into this because it does play a little bit of a part because there was one episode which was an original character created specifically for the What If series.
That's the American.
The Native American one. I forget the character's name, but she went, and that one character is supposedly like an ancestor of Echo.
Yeah.
Now, how many people of you guys are familiar with the character of Echo?
I liked her when she came out in what was it? Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I thought she was badass in Hawkeye.
That's the only way I know of the
Right.
character of Echo. I don't actually know anything about the character comic book origins wise.
Is she even in the comic books? Because I haven't bought like individual issues in years. I usually just go for the trade paperbacks.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that it becomes a little interesting.
Yeah.
Kahori is
Yeah, Cohorty.
Kahori, Kahhori.
Cohorty.
Kahori.
Yeah.
Cohorty.
Said
Yeah.
Kahorty.
The way you
Without the
say
tip.
it does not sound right at all.
Clean the ears.
No, lose the accent.
Okay. Stop breathing. What's going to happen first?
I can stop breathing a lot longer than you can stop with the accent
That's exactly right.
because you need voice and diction.
I've taken voice and diction with Professor Thomas.
And you did
I
a
passed.
bad job.
No, I passed. I got an A.
Then apparently he was a bad teacher.
Well, considering his... What happened?
He was blind or deaf.
Dude had a Jamaican accent.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Rastafari and man.
now see, I took voice and diction with Allie Brunell. Unfortunately, she had passed away, but she was actually really good. She actually asked me, "Why are you even in this class?" And she's like, we're working on accent reduction and you don't have that heavy accent." So, yeah,
Oh, well.
I walked in there already ahead of the game.
I walked in with an A.
You walked out with an A.
That was an A.
And what did you have to do for the A?
We don't want to know.
No, not at all. Not at all. No, I just...
Sure.
I pronunciated. I spoke clearly.
Well, can you do that for this show?
Can you spell
I
it?
wanted to. No. I can't.
Most of us can't.
Can you?
ANNUNCIATED. Enunciated.
Okay, I don't even know
I
if
don't know if
that's
that's right,
correct. So we're just going to run with it.
We're gonna give them the benefit of the
Although,
doubt.
if anyone is doing spell check right now, Jimmy, do not do that.
Yeah.
No, because I want the listeners to be able to give us
Right in.
their spelling
Yes.
of enunciated, and that
Not you, Doug.
Yeah, you know what? I need some new emails. So remember that email address is dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. It's all one word, dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. Now, let's be clear about something. The Echo series, I had to realize I didn't have to turn off my subtitles because I thought Disney Plus turned them on. Because for some shows I need to turn it on if I'm watching like an anime that they're airing on Hulu, I have to turn the subtitles on because they're not typically dubbed right away. And if I try to watch it on like my Chromebook or the website, it's out of sync. When I watch it on TV through the app, it works just fine, but it still need to have the subtitles on. Echo, you needed the subtitles, but they were already embedded because of the sign language.
Right.
I completely had forgotten that the character of Echo was deaf. So I was just in shock, but I did like how they brought in Daredevil. I liked the way the costume looked, and
Was it the original one, like the yellow and red?
No, they went with a more red costume.
Yeah.
But it was kind of an amalgamation between the She-Hulk costume and the Netflix series one.
Wasn't it in the She-Hulk one where she went to go get her like super suit and you saw like his
He gets the yellow and
Right, the yellow and
red.
yeah.
But the thing was, this one didn't have the yellow.
Okay.
But it was more like the style of like the shape of the suit and like the different pieces. And everyone's saying that it's canon now for the Netflix series, which
isn't a bad thing.
You know, one person says it's canon and it's one thing, but I don't know how Disney's going to take that so far, because if the Netflix shows are canon, it kind of leaves a little bit of a hole, because it's like, okay, are we going to get like Jessica Jones and it's going to be the same actress? Is it going to be the same person? Because I know they had problems when it came to Luke Cage. The actor was a little problematic, supposedly, with comments that didn't have anything to do with the show. So it's like, is he going to make a return appearance? You know, are they going to just recast Danny Rand? Because nobody liked Iron Fist.
I heard that they're bringing Iron Fist back and they're making it a woman.
Well, by the end of the second season of Iron Fist, the mantle had already passed over, so it was a woman.
I didn't watch Iron Fist.
Oh, see, now,
Yeah.
How many things did you actually watch? And take your hand away from your mouth when you speak.
I haven't watched Iron Fist, or Jessica Jones. I'm not into streaming all that much, so I wouldn't sit there and binge watch it.
And that makes me always question, why do I have you on the show?
Comic relief.
Yes, but you have to actually be funny.
I am funny.
looking.
Muppets are funnier than you.
He's funny looking.
Yeah.
He
Walked into
technically
that one.
he is a Muppet. Did you see the photo that Doug had posted? I got no strings to hold me down, to make me sweat and make me frown. Thank you, Doug, once again for that wonderful photo of Mike, the wee little puppet man, on the couch. Because he is a wee little puppet man.
Silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids.
I hate you all.
Especially Doug, because he's not here.
I'll tell him what you say. Don't give a shit.
I know he will. But yeah, no. So overall, Jimmy, did you see Echo?
Of course.
And what was your impression of the show?
First off, let me tell you something. I have a hearing impaired employee with me, and she watched the show
Okay.
and everything, and she was impressed with it. She writes to me, it's like, there's a new show on TV, Disney called Echo. It had sign language. I'm like, yeah, I know about this. And it was actually impressed that she watched it. It's actually impressed that you're getting people of hearing impaired. You're getting the indigenous people recognized through this. I thought that was very impressive. And you get to see more origin. You get to see more of the country besides Marvel is New York, granted. But you get to see Oklahoma, okay.
Yeah.
And everything. And you got to see a different point. Plus, you got to see why she went there.
Yeah.
Which is what Renner.
And that's the thing. It's, a lot of the shows are in limbo. And I have to say, one thing that bothers me right now is She-Hulk has not been renewed for a second season.
As of yet.
But the problem is it's one of those shows where the fans are so stupidly vocal because it's a bunch of people that don't understand. The show is probably the most comic book accurate for breaking the fourth wall.
Yep.
And every Marvel show so far has been a different style for the most part. Now that they finally decided we need to get showrunners because they've made some mistakes by not having everything really make a cohesive overall story. Mm-hmm. So She-Hulk, though, I feel like needs that second season. It's not as bad as everybody wanted to make it out to be.
Not at all. It was great.
I think that the biggest issue it had was the problem with the CGI at the last episode.
Well,
because when they introduced like Hulk's son,
Scar,
that was where it was like it didn't look right. It didn't look like the Scar that anyone was used to.
Yeah.
Didn't even look like the one from Hulk and the Agents of Smash.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you figure by the end of the season, you blew all your money on her CG, on the Abomination and everything else. How much money do you have left for decent CG?
But then again, I mean, that's the thing. What is it? Tatiana Maslany?
Yeah.
Or
Tatiana Maslany, the one who played She-Hulk. She was amazing.
Yeah.
As in
Both
Hulk form
roles.
or as just regular Jennifer Walters. So, I mean, she was really carrying that entire show and did such an amazing job. Mm-hmm. But then you have such a vocal fan base of a bunch.
Shit.
It's the guys who want to gatekeep everything. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with making certain changes to things. I just wish like sometimes create a new character.
Yeah.
Like if Echo is more of a character that was designed more for the show, great. The What If episode that the character was created for that to me was brilliant because you created a backstory, you created a character. This is something anybody could jump right into. Mm-hmm. Where when they first introduced Miles Morales for Spider-Man, I had problems with it because it's like they're calling him Spider-Man.
Right.
Now, I wasn't following the Ultimate Universe, so I didn't know that they had killed off Peter Parker in that universe. Mm-hmm. But you're still using somebody else, same powers, calling him Spider-Man. I was like, you could have just given him a different name.
Right.
Backstory aside, change it. It's not like Spider-Man was a legacy character like where Captain America, where he can hand over the mantle to either Bucky or to Falcon.
Right.
But this was now it's Spider-Man. Everyone knows who Spider-Man is.
Thanks
So-
to Civil War.
Yeah, but not even that. It's like for the comic book readers in
Comic
general,
book readers, they
even
found out in Civil War.
fans outside who had only seen like the Spider-Man cartoons and stuff.
They knew it was Peter Parker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so when you hear Miles Morales, the character's grown on me, but it was just it felt weird having that first character introduction of hey. If you're not following and you hear, hey, look, there's a new Spider-Man, and then you're like, what? Like Spider-Man 2099, I had no problems with because it was 2099. How
Right.
many years into the future? This was like, wait, you got two people running around with the Spider-Man name.
Right.
It can get a bit confusing. I did like what they did with the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon show where they called him Kid Arachnid.
Yes.
So at least then there was like a distinction. So
Was that the one where he had like the where he goes like to the animal planet with the High Evolutionary?
no,
That was Ultimate Spider-Man though.
no.
What was that one called? Oh, that was Unlimited.
Yeah, that was Spider-Man Unlimited. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, no. I
'Cause-
thought it was
No, that was
Ultimate
it
Spider-Man.
was terrible.
Yeah.
The only thing that they did do in that one that I kind of liked was doing the entire storyline of having John Jameson becoming like a werewolf.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things that did actually happen to him in the comics.
Yep.
Now, so far, I will say my opinion of Echo was I enjoyed the show. Was it one of my favorites? No. Was I impressed by everything they did and how it tied in together? Absolutely. I wouldn't put like Echo on like my top 5.
Would it be in your top
Agreed.
20?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely would. Out of all the series and everything they've done so far, like I don't really shit on the Marvel shows too much. Like if I'm gonna crap on anything, I'm gonna crap on Agents of Shield, which it started out good,
Yeah,
but
started out, then it went wacky.
it because they tried to tie it in with the MCU, and you can't do it if they're not like you're making references to stuff that they don't even know what the hell's going on.
Right.
And they're talking about Inhumans, and the movie's never even had a single reference
Never
to
had
the
a show.
Inhumans. Complete trash was the Inhuman series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when
Yeah.
you have, when one of the characters is Medusa and her hair is supposed to be wild, and you cut her hair,
Yeah, a living organism on her is
Yeah.
her hair, and you
They
chopped
cut
it off.
and when you have Thunderbolt,
Black Bolt.
Black Bolt. Okay, great. When he stubbed his toe and went, "Ooh," and he blew off half of Manhattan, that was cool. But how often can you do that?
Yeah.
And even the bulldog with the tuning fork in his head,
Yeah.
Lockjaw.
Lockjaw.
Yeah.
Where
So
he can transport you everywhere.
I know this is a really high geek centric episode today. So
Yeah.
now I enjoyed it. So Jimmy, where would you kind of rank Echo?
I'd rank it in at least above Secret Invasion, first off.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy with that one either. I mean, it was good, but I was.
I feel like things are out of order.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why they needed like a showrunner.
Yes.
To kind of like
And they actually call this on, I hope you recognize, this was a Marvel spotlight.
yeah. So it's to give certain characters
The
more
spotlight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed, and I mean the Kingpin thing was a little interesting because it brings him back into the fold. So I'm happy that the show did wrap things into where it's going to go further on down the line. So that's why, like, I would put it in like probably like out of 20, I would put it at like number 11.
Okay.
About that. I'd put it at least 12 or 10.
Yeah,
Maybe, well, less than 10.
Mike?
12, 14.
I would stick it in the top 20. I would give it about a 15.
okay. No, that's not terrible.
Not terrible. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not one of the things. Oh, I have to go watch it again.
I mean, I like She-Hulk more
I
than
like
I
She-Hulk.
liked Echo.
Yes.
So but then again, it was like I also had issues when, what was it, not Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel?
Ms. Marvel.
Ms. Marvel series came out. I wasn't the target demographic,
Yeah, no.
like I've said before. So it took a little bit for me to get into,
Mm-hmm.
but once they got rolling, I actually really started to enjoy it.
Now, I had a really tough time getting into Secret Invasion. I just felt I was like dragging my feet.
I had an easy time with it but then again, I like the change up in the style and it being more of like a spy thriller. So It was more the ending with the Super Scrolls
Yeah.
where I felt like it would have benefited from the Fantastic Four.
Yes, totally.
But that's just me. Now, I want to talk. I know you said you don't have Peacock, so you haven't checked it out, Mike.
I haven't seen Ted.
But Jimmy and I have both watched the Ted series.
Is it Seth MacFarlane doing the voice?
Yep, it's still Seth MacFarlane.
It's Seth MacFarlane.
And if you've seen the Orville, there are at least, outside of not counting Seth MacFarlane, there are 3 other actors from the Orville in the show. And I mean, Scott Grimes.
Lucky?
No. Scott Grimes, though, like playing the father is fucking hilarious. And I mean, this is the first time like that you see like Ted and Johnny as kids, and like it's the first time they're smoking like weed.
Nice.
And actually like they're doing drugs, they're watching Flash Gordon. It's the origin, because this is now Ted after he's been famous.
He comes back from Hollywood.
Yeah, because now they've got nothing for him. The father's going off about how much he loves Rocky. You hear all the Boston accents and stuff. I mean,
khakis.
oh no, the
Your cousin from Boston.
pretty much.
Nice
And it's one of those things where it's like you can tell it's like John before he becomes
Right.
Mark Wahlberg. So it's like him as a geeky kind of kid. I mean, they play you got through the whole series, right, Jimmy?
Yes.
So they play into some of the events that took place in the 90s, because the entire show is in the 90s.
Yeah.
So it's I'm gonna do like it's a kind of a spoiler, but not really, because it does take place in the early 90s.
Early 90s.
And I remember it happening to me. What they turn on the TV in the last episode, and they get distracted because of O.J. Simpson car chase.
Yes.
So the white Bronco.
The white Bronco.
About
and the
1994.
Yeah. And I remember being pissed off because I was trying to watch an episode of The Simpsons and it got interrupted.
Yep.
So that's like, okay, so
We interrupt this program for a special report.
no, that wasn't even, they didn't even
they just
bother with
cut
that.
in.
They just, yeah, it's like we're just following this white Bronco.
Yeah, and if you turned it on, like if you walked in the room and you have it on, you're like, did I change the channel? And you're trying to find it. It's on every fucking channel.
And so it really was one of those moments where it's a moment in history. Although I will say, did you notice who the narrator was for the first couple episodes?
Please tell me it was Liam Neeson. No, not Liam
No.
Neeson. Patrick Stewart.
No.
No.
Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen.
Magneto, even better.
You figured the movie
Had Patrick Stewart.
had Patrick Stewart. So now
You gotta
we've
get
got
Ian
Magneto.
Yep. Sir Ian McKellen. How much
Yeah.
did that cost him?
Well, he was only there for 2 episodes.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah. And which I think you figure that's 1 day of recording. So he probably did, I would say, with Ian McKellen, probably an hour or 2 of recording minus setup at time, and he was done.
I want to guess maybe 50 to 100 grand
Give or take.
on
Maybe
the
a
light
little
side.
more.
Maybe. You know what? Whatever they paid him, it was well worth
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Because I was laughing. Because at first I was like, that's not Patrick Stewart.
No.
And then I was like, when I saw the credits and it said Ian McKellen, I was like, oh
Well,
my.
he's like
Okay,
best
Gandalf.
friends. He's
Yeah.
best friend, so he probably figured, well, what he could do, I could do too.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing was too, I know Patrick Stewart is been recording the audiobook for his book.
Which Lynn has, and she's reading and chuckling.
Patrick Stewart's a guy who's had like such an amazing career. So there's got to be tons of great stuff. And if you listen to any of the interviews that they've done with the Star Trek The Next Generation cast, they said like they thought Patrick Stewart was going to be like all stodgy and stuff.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, it's like they're all cracking jokes, saying like crazy shit in the meantime.
Well, I've seen like videos of him like on the
Oh, yeah.
Enterprise, and he's like singing the alphabet, dancing all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
And he comes back and he's like, "Make it so."
Well, that's like the Riker impressions everybody does of sitting down,
Yeah.
because Riker never just turned the chair and sat
Yeah.
down. He had to make sure he threw his leg over.
Like
It was-
over it, and he
yeah.
wraps it around his head. And
Oh yeah. Well, Riker was the what was it? The Kirk of Next Generation because he was screwing everybody.
Yes. If we're not going to give it to the captain this time, let number one have it.
Yeah, no, it's like number one. Yeah, he forgot his name so much you just called him number one.
Number one.
Number one.
But
I
now
have to take a number two.
Now, the TED show, though, was absolutely great. I was laughing so hard that I was actually choking. I haven't done that since the Titus show. When Christopher Titus had his series.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Take that outside.
Titus was a good show.
Oh, Titus was one of those shows that it really, like, I was cracking up.
Yep.
So, forgive Jimmy.
Jimmy will be back. He's on the phone with his agent right now.
Exactly. You know, he's got to make sure We Are Family gets extra publicity.
And he's probably going to negotiate a higher salary and a change of wardrobe for season 2.
Yes, hopefully.
Change your shirt now.
But yeah, no, Mike, I definitely recommend, if anything, you got to get...
I got to get
the
Peacock.
Peacock's not that bad, like, price-wise.
I'll just get somebody else. I think Danny has it. I'll get his.
We don't condone this, but...
we don't condone it, but we sure as hell don't stop it.
Hey, listen, at this point, all the streaming platforms are basically cable with extra steps.
Yeah.
And the price has pretty much gone.
So sorry.
Yeah. Jimmy's back.
We would talk,
Station break.
Jimmy, we figured that was your agent on the phone. Season 2, will they let you change your shirt?
Or is there another NDA?
Or is that an NDA?
Oh, no. We want to try to get on the floor.
Oh, so that must be one of the conditions. Keep the same shirt on, but you can get on the floor?
Oh, no, I had to get rid of that shirt.
Oh, you burned it.
No. You figure he had to have framed it because, that'll go up for
auction. Yes.
That shirt was all stained and everything.
I thought you laundered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they laundered it, but there was still stains in there. There was grease stains.
I don't want to know. No. I honestly don't want to.
Eating.
Yeah, sure. Now, I want to take...
you didn't have a fluff.
Now, let's just take this real quick. I want to go and jump into what I'm going to call the movies that shaped us.
Yes.
Because I want to talk about movies and TV shows that shaped our lives. So we're going to pick one episode, one movie or one show. We're going to stick with movies to start off with. And we picked one for this week. And this is going to be a recurring theme for us. So I wanted to do Police Academy to start things off just right.
Yep.
Now, we're talking about Police Academy 1.
Yep.
Yes.
Out of 7 movies.
Yes.
So the first one is iconic.
Very.
Yes.
Now, this was, I think, I didn't realize how fun Bubba Smith would be as an actor. And seeing him, now the movie came out, I believe, in 84.
I believe
So
so.
1984, because they were pretty consistent one a year until 89.
Moses Hightower.
Yeah. I mean, the characters were great, and I almost think you could kind of do that today because it almost seems like they are
84.
they're opening up we can let anybody be a cop nowadays because nobody wants to be a cop. So it's one of those things where it's like the amazing cast. So who is one of your all-time favorite characters from Police Academy?
Oh, it's a tough one. It's a toss-up between...
Larvell Jones.
It's a toss-up between Larvell, Motormouth Jones, and Carrie Mahoney.
Yes.
Because Jones, just when you first saw him in 84, you didn't realize that was him doing all those sound effects.
Oh, when I saw him doing it, I was impressed.
Yes.
But then finding out later on that he was Gizmo. So he's doing the Gremlins voices and stuff and the noises. He is extremely talented.
Yeah.
It's a cross between Jones and Mahoney because Jones just brought the wackiness, but Mahoney had that cool planning factor. I'm gonna go do this and just do it.
Yeah.
So you kind of I want to hang out with
And you don't piss him off.
Yeah, no.
Because he will get his revenge on you.
Yeah. Now, so Jimmy, for you're going to say the same thing, or
I'm going to say Jones. It goes Jones, Mahoney, and even Tackleberry.
See, now I love, as a kid, I loved Tackleberry because it seemed like he was trying to play the straight man.
Yeah.
But he was just so awkward.
Yeah.
And his love of like the guns.
No, guns, yes. What? Plural.
Seeing him like take the gun in the firing range sequence.
Follow me.
It's like, follow me. And
Follow
he goes
me.
behind with the shotgun, comes out from behind. And, like,
And just blows shit up.
yeah, you were just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Now, it's hard to make a movie like that nowadays.
Hooks. Don't move, dirtbag.
Hooks.
Every movie.
Yeah, Hooks' voice was so
whisper.
squeaky. Excuse me. And then she went from being really mousy by the
end of the first
Once
film.
she became like assertive.
Shut your mouth and sit down.
And then she go back to the mouse mode.
Although I have to say it was I think everybody in 84 had a sexual awakening from Callahan.
Leslie Eastbrook.
Oh yeah. And from what I can tell, she still looks amazing
looking at it for
today.
74. Holy shit.
Yeah. She looks amazing. She was, I would have to say,
And it doesn't look like she had any plastic surgery on the
No.
face.
no. She, like, I remember seeing the movie as a kid. Probably I shouldn't have been watching it, but I
Probably.
do remember
For
watching
those
it.
playing along at home.
So now, Callahan was that character where you it was like, if you hadn't hit puberty yet,
You did by the end of the film.
oh yeah, I literally think at 4 years old I hit puberty.
Yep. Hey, what's this? Ooh.
Yeah, it was like, there's a reason for all the things I've done, and
She's part of it.
Who's next? I am.
Police Academy is the movie that I can start blaming things for.
And it's funny because when you first saw her,
Yeah.
you were like, "Oh, what a bitch!" But then she kind of grew on you, and then I like the way they kind of changed her character from the first one to the last
Yeah.
one.
Well, because I honestly thought like she was going to be one of those characters that was going to be more on what was it, Mauser?
No, Mauser
Mauser
was the third
and-
one. It was
Harris.
Harris. So Harris was the first one.
Harris was the first,
yeah.
first and fourth one.
First and fourth, and I think he took over and stayed after. But
Yeah.
2 and 3 were Mauser.
Mauser, yes, Mauser was two.
Yeah, I was recently watching like I watched 1 to Citizens on Patrol. So, but yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I was like, I think this is a good movie to start off with. Because I mean, let's face it, how many times in that movie was all the different sound effects, like seeing Jones sitting in his like little dorm room and he's like playing video games, but there's no video game,
games.
no TV. He's just and remember,
Game over.
remember he was in Spaceballs.
Yes, his leaps and the creeps. The what? The what? The what?
Yep.
You know,
That's not all he's seen.
that's not all he's lost.
So it was like there were so many funny moments in there. So I got to ask each one of you guys, what was the moment that you thought was the standout thing that made you like really crack up laughing?
Then or now?
Now, because I'm sure like as a kid you were laughing at all of it.
Yeah, laughing at all of it, understanding about half of it.
Yeah. Now as an adult understanding all of it or most of it.
Most of it. I don't know. I mean, I mean, the scene when the two in the first one, when the two bully cops that got the head shaved run into the Blue Oyster.
Yeah. The Blue Oyster Bar was literally in every movie.
It was, but
Yeah,
the first time
There
we
was
saw
even
it-
one in the Russia one.
Yes, but just that music. But I think right now when you see Harris coming down the street on the dirt bike, and somebody cuts him off, and he goes flying headfirst into the rear end of the horse, and you see the horse's eyes pop out, and then there's Mahoney. Oh my God! Somebody call a veterinarian! And then like the next scene they're at roll call, and Harris goes to Mahoney. He goes, "You didn't tell anybody, did you?" And they're like, "Not a soul." And as he's walking up the line, people are snickering behind him, and then as soon as he walks past Jones,
Now, Jimmy, what about you? If he could stop laughing,
stop
like-
Listen, between that and the target range,
Yes.
that was the best. And when they had the riot.
Yeah, the riot was funny.
The riot was fun, but I gotta say, for me, the thing that recently made me like really crack up was when they were like trying to get them in trouble. So they went and they hired the hooker.
Yes.
And they get the hooker under the podium
While he's giving a speech.
So Lazard giving his speech, and it's like you can just see the moment.
Yep.
And at that very moment, it's like, and then at the end, as he walks away, Mahoney sticks his head out
first.
and it's like,
He's like, no.
it was like, please tell me that wasn't what I think it was. So it was like that to me was one of those moments where I was like, yeah.
The funny thing is, you can't get away with half of that shit now.
Yep.
The head up the horse, Peter would be on your ass in half a second.
Well, no. The head up the horse's rear you can get away with because editing tricks and stuff.
Yeah.
So, there'll
but
be
you
that.
still even if you didn't see it then, somebody was like, oh, that's offensive. You can't do that to an animal.
No. What was offensive was Conan. When you went and you had the guy having sex with the camel. You don't see it in the full screen version that we all saw as kids on TV. Watch it in widescreen on DVD or streaming now.
No,
and
not now. No. Sorry.
It's literally still there. They didn't edit it out or anything. It's when Conan and the other guy are coming down and because they're drunk. You sit and like they see the guy with the camel. The guy's behind the camel humping away. And it's like,
Conan, what day is it?
Yeah. They are literally like, you see them like they're drunk and they're laughing, but they see it because that same camel comes back in the second Conan movie.
He wants more.
No, and he punches him because the camel spits on him. So
I would spit on him too.
So he punches the camel. See, that you couldn't get away with punching the
Put me on
camel.
a cover carton of damn cigarettes. Boom.
Yeah, Joe Camel. So, I mean, but that's the thing. It's like you can't do some of that stuff today, but there's some of it you can definitely get away with. It's more the sensibility behind it because this is one thing that I love about comedy. It pushes boundaries and it can make you feel uncomfortable, but just uncomfortable enough where you're laughing.
Right.
It's like the German word for taking misery in the unhappiness and misfortune of others.
Oh,
Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude. We don't say that word.
What word don't we say?
We don't say the mustache man.
Oh, okay.
Do you know the mustache man?
Mario. The German Mario. Yeah, we're gonna leave that there because that was not a good joke, and I'll admit that one on myself. But no, but there is the word, and of course, it's a German word for taking misery and pleasure in the unhappiness of others. Schadenfreude.
Sounds like something you can get at a restaurant with sauerkraut and pierogies.
Shatner.
Do you know how I learned that word?
German class?
No, the play Avenue Q. There's an entire song because they have a black female playing Gary Coleman in there.
Because why wouldn't you?
Well, you weren't going to get Gary Coleman.
Yeah, I know,
Talking
but
about Michael.
what you talking about, boys?
But it's Gary Coleman is the character is supposed to be being portrayed and is the landlord for the building on Avenue Q that they live in. And they even make references of Gary Coleman selling his stuff online on eBay to make money since the parents stole all of his money from being a kid.
Yep.
So, real events, folks. Real events that actually happened. Sad but true. But yes, so we can get away with a lot of stuff, but comedy becomes very difficult nowadays if everyone's going to be... Please stop. Thank you. We really need to get you a quiet fidget spinner.
Stand, I'm not doing anything.
If I give you a stand, you'll find a way to start playing with that too.
No.
I tried last time, and you found a way to find something to fidget with.
Anyway.
We gotta hang the mic from.
Listen, if I got to give him a boom mic, we've got problems. More than I'm willing to admit. If you'd like to contribute to getting Mike a boom mic so he'll stop fidgeting, Doug, we know
it's you, so it's somebody else.
Yeah. You can contact us and we'll let you know how you can help contribute to the show at Dragoon's Lair Podcast. That's Dragoon's Lair Podcast at gmail.com. Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. It's all one word, Dragoon's Lair Podcast at gmail.com. I think I've shilled that email address enough this episode because I felt like I was lacking for the last few.
Yeah, you made up for any lacking.
Yep. I usually do. Now, with that being said, we've had a lot of fun on this episode. Yes. You know, we want to thank everybody. This has been a great start to the new year. The last episode was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think the 3-man format is working very well. If we go back to 2, Mike, I'm sorry, but you will be cut from the rotation. You will come back as an occasional guest.
The tribe has spoken.
Yeah, Doug pretty much has spoken because he's the one voting online. And remember, folks,
he's the only one.
Yeah, if you're listening on Spotify, we do have polls on Spotify's webpage. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can tell us what your thoughts about the show, as well as also voting in the weekly, almost bi-weekly poll. So please vote in those polls. Leave us a review on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio. We appreciate it. It helps other people find the show. And most importantly of all, we enjoy doing this. You know, I poke fun at Mike a lot, but Mike's got a production coming up. So how did the casting go? Because you brought that up in the last episode.
We managed to cast everybody in 2 days. We did 2 days of auditions. We nailed out half on the first night, the other half on the second night. We did a table read this past Wednesday, which went okay. We had our first rehearsal last night. Few hiccups aside because we had to do a lot of rearranging of the schedule because just, little things that popped up. So we're going to be rehearsing.
Snow?
No. Conflict of days.
Okay.
So we had to rewrite everything, but we're going to rehearse 2 days a week. We had our first real rehearsal last night. Went well for our first rehearsal. We have, out of the 10 character cast, I would say about 70 people said, I've never acted before. And I'm like, we're doing Murder on the Orient Express. I'm like, and this is the show you decide to cut your teeth on? Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit. And even the producer's like, you have your work cut out for you. I'm like, no shit. But a lot of the people, they took to the direction well. I have a lot to work with. So we're going to pull it off.
All right. Well, you know what? I will give you a compliment right now. So everyone seriously, I do not do compliments to Mike at all. So, but I do have to give you credit because when we did film the Comic Book Jones movie, you proved that you are an actor's director. You can give the information that you want to get from an actor. You're able to pull that performance out. And I've seen you do it where I'm more technical and I'm all about the technical side. You are able to actually get the information across. So I got to give you a lot of credit for that one.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure for a play, you're going to be able to get a good performance. So
yeah.
And where and when can people see the show?
Murder on the Orient Express goes up the first 2 weekends in March 1, 2, and 3. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And 8, 9, and 10, that's the following weekend. The Friday and Saturday shows are at 8. Sunday shows are at 2 at the Little Victory Theater, Staten Island, New York, on the corner of Victory and Wild Avenue. You can get tickets at showtix4u.com.
There you go. And Mike, how can they reach out to you otherwise?
You can get me at Smoke Signals. You can send out carrier pigeons, or if you want to get technical, you can find me on Facebook at Michael Schiavo, and you can also find me on Facebook at Hamster Pellet Productions. You can hit us up. You hit the podcast up on Instagram at, oddly enough, the Dragoon Slayer Podcast. And you can follow Hamster Pellet Productions on Instagram at, oddly enough, Hamster Pellet Productions.
And Jimmy, you know, you got your run on TV going on. This has been a great start of the year for you, Mr. I'm on TV how many times a week now?
Listen, we're on one time a week, but this week we had two because we had to follow Anthony on the Emmys. What, Mama?
Yep. So, I mean, it's been a very interesting week for you with the show and everything. So, and now, how can people get in touch with you and let you know how well you're doing on We Are Family?
Hashtag the WAF, WAF 100. Type that in. Let us know you're watching any of us online. You can catch me on Instagram at JamesH_the4th. You can catch me, James Haynes the 4th, on Facebook. You can catch me here at the Dragoon's Lair podcast. And you can also catch me on Snapchat at JamesSI0925. All right? Remember, Wednesdays at 9, right after Can You Hear My Voice?
And how else? Hulu?
Hulu. But also, what they don't... Yeah, I'll say it.
Say it.
I don't care if they say, if you don't have Hulu and you watch regular TV, whatever your cable provider is, go on demand.
Ooh. But if you do have Hulu, you can watch it the next day, correct?
Yes.
All right. You know, giving that free plug. That's right. Free plug. If you'd like to advertise with us and sponsor the Dragoon's Lair podcast, you can reach out to me, Blue Dragoon 13, on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Threads, because I really
Yes.
don't use the Twitter, whatever you want to call it, because I don't like reaching out to X's as opposed to tweeting. But yeah, you can find me pretty much everywhere, including Twitch. And on the Twitch page, there is a link to the Discord page, so you can join the community there. And you can also send me an email at dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. That's Dragoon's Lair Podcast. Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's Dragoon's Lair Podcast, all one word, at gmail.com. So make sure you reach out to us. Let us know. If you like the show, make sure you rate, review. You can watch on YouTube, Blue Dragoon 13. A week after the audio versions come out, we then release the video versions. And I will say the latest video episode is available. And even though it is available, we have a wonderful little difference in the audio that week because I put in the footage from Anime NYC of Henry and I wandering around the show floor. Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot more footage that I would have liked. There was some audio issues. Thank you, Henry, for not turning on the microphone. We will eventually introduce you to Henry, our Asian behind the scenes.
Our Asian.
He really is.
He is.
He's our stagehand. He's our camera guy. He does pretty much.
He's our version of Family Guy's Trisha Takanawa.
No. No. No.
No.
How can we describe Henry?
An Asian version of the Scotsman from Samurai Jack.
Yes, that is good.
That is probably the best description you're going to get, especially when you see him wearing a kilt.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And, yeah.
Yeah, that's all you need to say.
Yeah, I don't really have other words for that one.
With the broadsword.
Yes. Exactly that. Now, thank you all for tuning in to the Dragoon's Lair podcast. I want to thank you all once again. And since we've been having a massive cold front moving through all of this country, and I mean, what was it? Buffalo
had 60 inches of snow
and hired the fans to shovel out their own seats to show the game the next day.
Yeah, they paid them $20 an hour.
Yeah.
And there's footage of one of the guys going down with no shirt.
Well, they're in Buffalo, so what do you think?
Exactly. So, not to.
Not the brightest fans in the world.
Well, it's Buffalo.
Buffalo.
You know,
Nothing else to do. Well, then again,
there's not a
60
lot to
inches-
do up there.
Yeah, 60 inches of snow. They're like, oh, this is t-shirt weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same way. Like you go to Florida and it hits 50 degrees, and they're wearing full
Sweatshirts, yeah.
like sweaters and all sorts of like
Yeah,
gloves
winter
and everything.
gear. And like, no, stop it.
Yeah, no, you're making me feel bad. With that being said, we want to make sure that you guys stay warm. So our best recommendation is get yourself a nice glass of hot chocolate. You know, get yourself a nice book. Turn on a podcast, preferably this one.
America's favorite podcast.
Binge all of our episodes that are available on
thank us later.
YouTube. Well, we're on YouTube, but where are we on, Mike?
Spotify.
And
We are on Spotify.
iHeart, Amazon.
He hearts the Amazon. And instead of iHeartRadio, he hearts the Amazon.
I know.
But we're on iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio, iTunes, Apple Podcast, as well, and our home of Spotify, and then on YouTube as well.
Yes.
So let us warm the cockles of your heart and enjoy a good time with us. So with that being said, I'm not going to do the normal tag. I want to see if Jimmy can do it this
Yeah.
time.
Take
So
us
Jimmy,
out,
take us out.
Take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, you don't
can't
have
have
to.
nothing.
I can't do
He's
it.
shaking his head.
I can't do
No,
it.
he gave
Ladies and gentlemen,
you don't have to go home, but you can't
Can't
stay
stay
here.
here.
Later.
bye.
Peace.